basketball to volleyball, CPHS 6 covers the sports. Exciting local high school and community sports can only be found on CPHS 6. Home entertainment with a touch of class.
Hello, and welcome to another CPHS 6 sports presentation. I'm Nancy Osborne, and with me today is the golf coach from Port Huron High School, Kevin Sen. Welcome, Kevin.
Oh, welcome.
We're going to talk a little bit about the golf team in itself, and also we've got an important match between Port Huron High School and Port Huron Northern, which is a local rivalry, so that ought to be interesting to talk about that too. First of all, how long have you been coaching with the school district?
Well, I've got a unique situation. I coached at Port Huron Northern for 2 years, and then I coached at Port Huron High School for the last 12 years, or basically 10 to 12 years. We had a year that we didn't have sports. So I've got to coach at both high schools.
So you have divided loyalties.
Well, I don't have divided. Now I have sole loyalty with Port Huron High School, but I know what type of player comes out of Port Huron Northern, and I know a lot of the players over there because I'm a member of the course that they play at.
What about your golf experience? How did you get interested in golf? How long have you been playing?
I've been playing since I was about 25 years old, so I've been playing for 15, 16 years. I play a lot during the summer. I play at Port Huron Golf Club, and we have junior tournaments, and I go around to different tournaments and find out who's good in the area and things like that. So my interest is because of I love the game of golf. That's what it amounts to.
How did you particularly get started in golf? Did someone introduce you to it?
I guess just like probably everybody, your dad either gets you started in it, or somebody that you know gets you started in it, and I got to get involved in it through people that I knew.
Okay. How many members are on the Port Huron High School team this year?
We have 11. And 11 or 12, 15 or 18, those are the numbers that usually teams have. They might sometimes have as little as 6 or 7 because players don't seem to come out for the teams, but in our case we have usually 11 or 12. We have tryouts just like Port Huron Northern has.
What do you look for in a player?
Well, basically the bottom line is score. If they can score 52, 53 as freshmen, and then into the 40s as they're progressing into high school.
Can you tell me a little bit about some of your players, or your top player this year?
Well, I've got 6 players that start at the varsity level, and you count 4 of those 6 in a match. I've got 6 pretty equal players. At any one time, one of those 6 could be the medalist, which is the #1 golfer for that match. I've had my freshmen and sophomores do a nice job this year, but the last 2 matches, my only senior has done a real nice job. So my team is basically a team concept. I don't have one guy that's great, but I don't have one guy that's not very good. So it's been a fun year so far.
You mentioned that sometimes schools have difficulty getting the kids to come out. Now, I'm assuming they're boys and girls on the team?
Yes, in the past I've even had a girl on my team make the team. She ended up going to Michigan State on a full ride, so she was a very good player. Teams in high school in Michigan have girls. They play in the spring, we play in the fall. They usually don't do very well against boys because of length. So we don't have many girls come out, but if we do have one come out, usually she's very good.
Okay. Is the difficulty involved the expense of the golf clubs? Do the players provide their own golf clubs?
Sure, they provide their own clubs. We ask that they basically dress in a country club atmosphere, which they all do a very nice job of. It's an expensive investment in terms of you got to buy nice clubs and things like that, and then you have to continue to play. You need to play at a club at some place to get good practice, and so it does get to be fairly expensive. It's similar to probably tennis. Tennis is an expensive sport, and tennis and golf players kind of go together.
Speaking of where you play, where do you practice?
Okay, we practice at Black River Country Club. They have great facilities. They've got a driving range, they've got a putting green, they've got sand traps. They've got a lot of facilities to make us a good team. And then they have what we call a good track. A good track in golf means it's a good golf course. It demands golf shots. It demands all your aspects to be very good. And because of we playing at Black River, we have a chance to probably beat most of the teams that come in because it's such a tough golf course. So the object in the MAC conference is to win at home all the time and try to win most of the time going away.
Let's talk a little bit about the conference now. We were in the Eastern Michigan League.
Right.
And as of this year, it's the Michigan Athletic Conference?
Yes, it's called the MAC conference.
Okay.
There's a red division, which we're in. It's the toughest division of the three. As opposed to the EML was 6 schools. The MAC is 6 schools in the red division. So we're playing the same number of schools. The competition is a little bit better. The 2 schools in Port Huron are going to always be competitive, the way I see it, and we are again this year. We're going to fight for first and second. We fought for first and second in the EML. I happened to win it the last 3 years or tie it. Port Huron Northern's been right there. So we going into this new MAC conference, it hasn't been as devastating as we thought it might be, but it's still a good conference. Very good golf played in that conference.
Is the game played by individuals or is it scored by teams?
Well, I make it an individual thing, even though it is a team effort entirely. What I mean by that is we have 6 players. We count the low 4, throw out the 2 high scores. But I make it important for the guys, if he's number 1, he needs to beat number 1 on the other team. Now, it doesn't matter whether he beats them or not in the score for the final result, but it matters to each of these kids to realize what their records are. A kid right now, we've got a 5-2 overall record, and if a kid's 5-2 right now, that means he's really helped the team individually as well as a team record. Mm-hmm. But what we do is we add up the total score, and 160 to 165 is a good score. 170 to 175 is not so good. So you're asking for 4 guys to shoot around 41, 42, and you'll win a lot of matches. Mm-hmm. What we try to do also is try to get a guy not to shoot in the 50s, because what I do is I average the team and I average the individual's record, and the guy with the lowest score gets to play in the varsity level. Mm-hmm. So you're always being pushed in terms of what your average is. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the course itself, back to the Black River Country Club especially, is there a particular difficult hole or green in that area? Or?
Oh, Black River is tough. If you ask any local golfer, he'll tell you it's one of the toughest in the city. Mm-hmm. We have a hole that's number 3, which is 450 yards long, which is fairly long for a hole. And the second shot is all uphill, and then it has a 2-tiered green. Mm-hmm. Well, if my golfers can get a 5, it's a par 4 hole, that means 1 over par, that's a great score on that hole. And usually par is a good score, but a bogey, 1 over par, is a great score on that hole. I have kids coming off of other teams, and they're shaking their head about number 3 because they can't believe it. That tough of hole is on a golf course. So number 3 is Black River's tough hole. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful layout. It goes along the river. It goes along Black River for the first 2 holes, and then it goes up on top of basically a valley onto the top of a hill, and you play the last 6 on top. It's a beautiful layout, and it's in very good shape. So it's a fun place to play, and kids that come from other schools, really, if they even play bad, they're really happy that they played the golf course because they know they played a tough one.
Does Port Huron Northern play at Black River Country Club?
No, they play at Port Huron Golf Club. Now, Port Huron Golf Club is another one of the top golf courses in the city. It's in excellent shape, and it also demands golf shots. Of the 2, both of them are very good tests of golf, and in the MAC conference, they're probably the 2 best golf courses in the MAC conference. Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, you have the home court advantage.
Right. The home court advantage, like in basketball, like in whatever, is very important, and in golf, it's very, very important. Mm-hmm. I mean, here's a golf course that you've had some successful shots on, and so now you can go back to it and relive those shots, and so you'll do very well on it, usually.
Can you recall, either from this year or maybe in recent past, the most exciting match?
Oh, we've had very exciting matches over the years. We've had a faculty match where we played against the faculty, and
the team played against the faculty?
The team played against the faculty, and it was a 1-shot difference. This is years and years ago when Chet Wodrinski was principal. We've had sudden death. I can remember I had a sudden death match where the guy that won it for me hit it probably 200 yards to the right of where he should have hit it, and he ended up making par in the hole. There's many exciting matches, and usually it goes right down to the last shot. You have funny things happen along with victorious situations. We've had kids, forget to putt out, pick up the ball and leave the hole. We've had kids break a club, maybe accidentally or maybe on purpose, which creates sometimes a situation that's fun to decide what to do about it. So you're working with kids, and you're trying to show them a sport that they can use the rest of their lives. I mean, this is something they can play till the day they die. And so we're trying to encourage them and show them this is a gentleman's sport, but it's also something you're going to enjoy the rest of your life.
When is the golf season here in the Port Huron Area School District?
Okay, we basically start the day after Labor Day. We had 3 matches the first week of school. Last week we had 4 matches. This week we have 4 matches. So once the season starts, you just about have a match every day. We go till about October 7th. We have what's called the regional, and you have to qualify first 3 teams or 4 teams, depending on how big you are, and then you go on to the state match. So basically your season's 6 weeks long, and in the finals are at Michigan State's golf course, where everybody goes and they play 18 holes. We're trying to get 36 down the road for a finale. Speaking of the state championship, I had the state champ 2 years ago. I had the individual medalist, Derek Button, and I've also had second in the state. So I've been there, and I know that that's just really the chance to compete against everybody else in the state at that level and see what's really out there.
Now, you said everyone goes. All the teams are invited to come, or is it broken down by where you place in the league?
No, everybody goes according to how they did at their regional.
Okay.
We'll have 22 teams at our regional, and we'll probably have 4 or 5 teams that'll qualify to get to go. Once they get over there, there'll be about 7 or 8 regions that'll come in, probably 22 to 24 of the best teams in the state. And then it's just a matter of going head to head. You have an individual winner over there, but you also have an individual team winner.
Do you expect
also
to go this year?
No, I don't. We're in a tough regional. We go where there's 22 teams. I've got a young team. We could surprise a few teams. We have in the past done that. You really need a senior-based team. You need about 3 seniors, 4 seniors that have been in this type of competition in the past to carry you. And I've got mostly freshmen and sophomores. So the experience is not there, yet they have the ability to play. But now we're talking about pressure. I mean, just like you see on television, I mean, these guys have to be there once before to be able to have that same feeling of, can I do it again?
Is this pressure anything like the pro golf tournaments? Do you have a crowd standing around?
You don't have a crowd standing around till you get to the level of state, but you still have this innermost pressure that you need to hit the shot that needs to be hit. I mean, I still feel it when I play in tournaments. They feel it every time they play a match. It's the ability that you know you can do something, but can you do it under these circumstances? You know, I've seen players do things that are unbelievable, and then I've seen players hit 3 or 4 shots over what they should hit on a certain hole just because they couldn't handle that situation. So it's interesting.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Coach Sun.
Thank you very much for having us.
And I'll be back to talk with some of the players from Port Huron High School right after this. Face life's challenges head on. Enroll now for Port Huron adult education classes. Yes, you can earn a high school diploma or GED certificate or learn new job skills, all at your own pace. Books and materials are free. Choose from day or evening classes. Ask about free tuition, childcare, and bus transportation too. It's not too late. You can do it. Success is waiting for you at the Port Huron Adult Education Centers. Welcome back. I've got with me now 3 of the players from Port Huron High School. And first of all, right next to me, I have Mike Bassett. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
And then Sean Truskowski.
Hi.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then Steve Smith at the end. Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Now, why don't you give me a little bit of background now? We'll start here with you, Mike. What grade are you in?
I'm in 9th grade.
How long have you been playing golf?
I've been playing golf for 7 years.
7 years?
Yes.
Since you were 8?
Yep.
When did you get your first set of golf clubs? Or did you use your dad's?
No, I got my first set when I started playing because my dad's left-handed.
Oh, so you can't borrow his clubs then, right? Okay. And let's see, Sean, how about you?
I'm in 10th grade and I've played golf for 5 years.
How did you get started?
I took lessons at the Elks Golf Course, the pro-ran lessons there.
Did your parents play? Is that how you got into the sport?
My parents played, but I had to get my own set of clubs because I'm left-handed and my parents are right-handed.
You should trade him parents.
Yeah.
And Steve, you are
I'm in 12th grade, and I've played golf for about 6 years now.
how did you get started?
I took lessons at Black River Country Club, and I had to get my own clubs because I'm also left-handed.
How many left-handed, do you guys know offhand how many left-handed players are on the team? There's 11 of you total,
Just
right?
Sean and I are the
Just
only
the two of you.
left-handed
Okay.
ones.
All right. How does that affect how you play the course? Do you have to do anything differently than the right-handed players?
Well, like when they slice the ball, it would go from the left to the right across the course, and then when we slice it, it goes from the right to the left. So we just, depending on how we shoot, we gotta judge where to play it at.
It does affect your game a little. You just have to plan ahead a little bit.
Compensate for it?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you found a particular hole or green at Black River Country Club? Because I understand that's where you practice and that's where the game between Northern and PH is taking place. Do you have a particular hole or green that you find more challenging than the others?
Hole 3, definitely.
Hole 3, I heard about hole 3. What kind of problems does it give you?
Well, it's all blocked off by trees on the right and left, and the green has a severe break. And if you're past the pin, it's almost impossible to stop the putt from coming down the hill, because there's like a big drop off and the ball rolls down it.
How about for you left-handers? Does it give you the same sort of problem?
This gives everybody problems, but I have more trouble with number 9 because I always hit it out of bounds.
Number 9?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Steve?
I'd say number 3's got to be the hardest. It's imperative that you keep the ball straight on that hole.
Have any of you had the opportunity to play at any other golf courses around the state? Maybe the Bear up at Traverse City or anything? Never been up there?
No.
Have you heard about it, though?
Yeah.
It's a pretty challenging course from what I understand. What do you expect from this season? How is your game improving as the season goes on?
Yeah, I started out shaky because it was my first match, but I've improved a lot since then.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope to keep on improving.
Now,
stay
you're a
number
freshman.
1.
How many other
Yeah.
freshmen are on the team?
Well, I'm the only one on varsity, and there's about 4 on JV.
Okay. All right. How about you, Sean?
I started out really well, but then lately I've been playing bad, so I got to get back on the right track.
Do you know what's affecting your game at this point? Have you figured that out?
Just not concentrating enough.
And Steve?
I started out not real well, not real bad, and I've been playing really well lately.
What's your average right now?
My average is 42.
42, which is right about where the coach wants you, in that general area, right? How about you, Sean?
I'm about 43 right now.
And Mike?
I'm 41.
41. So you're all pretty well evenly matched here. Of course, I suppose that's why you're on the varsity team, right? Comparing, now, with you being a freshman, I guess you don't have anything to compare to, but were you on the team last year, Sean?
Yes.
All right, and then Steve, I'm assuming you were too. The comparison between the Eastern Michigan League and the MAC, have you seen any difference? Have you felt any difference in the games?
Not really. We've played a couple of teams here, the same teams, but some of the teams we played, they were actually worse than the teams in the Eastern Michigan.
Really?
They weren't as, like in the Eastern Michigan League, everybody had a really strong team, but then this year there was a couple teams that weren't that.
What do you think, Steve?
The only difference I've noticed is because there's different teams in the league, we played different courses. And that adds a challenge because whereas when we were in the EML, the courses that we played year after year were the same ones you've played in past years. So you kind of knew a little bit about the course, whereas now you're playing a course for the first time.
That's brand new. Okay. Have any of you ever hit a hole-in-one?
No.
No? Come close?
Yeah.
Very close.
But no cigar, right? Yeah, well, that's something to look forward to in some point in your future. What do you see happening this year? Do you expect to go on to the regional or the state? Do you think you have a chance?
Our whole varsity team, I think, goes to the regional, but then you have to qualify from there to move on.
I think if everyone concentrates and has a good match on the, or a good round on the day of the regionals, we have the potential to go on to states. It's just all a matter of whether or not it will happen.
Can any of you recall a particularly exciting shot that you made that just stands out in your memory? Since you didn't have a hole-in-one, I guess you can't say that, but was there anything that ever came close to that?
I was playing with Mike one day, and we were playing with night balls. They go in the dark. And he came about 3 inches from getting a hole-in-one. And that was the closest I've ever seen anybody come.
Let me ask you this, how many balls do you guys go through in a season?
Depends how you're playing. Because
I'll bet.
when you're playing bad, you lose a lot, pretty much.
Usually go through about 1 ball per round. That's just because the ball gets cut up just from using it a lot. Some days more, some days a lot more if you lose balls on the course.
What about when you're playing these matches with the schools in the MAC? Do you play 9 holes or is it 18 holes?
9 holes.
9 holes. Okay. So you expect a pretty exciting season this year, and of course with the game with Northern, does that add an added dimension of rivalry there?
I think anytime you play Northern in any sport, it's always, you're more pumped up for it, more nervous about it. And I think for the golf match against Northern, everyone will definitely be a little bit more intense, a little bit more excited about the match.
So Northern doesn't put you off in the least bit?
No.
I assume that you are the better team.
Let's hope so.
Okay, that's what you're supposed to say. Well, thanks, guys, for joining me. And we'll be back to talk with the coach from Port Huron Northern, along with a couple of players from there as well, right after this.
Gotta jump on things, a new place to go, awesome stuff to see, cool stuff to know. It's you and your buddies hanging out.
We take trips. Hey, check this out.
You got Cub Scout cool, and your end comes to roll. You got Cub Scout cool, and it's in your soul.
Getting it together till we're out of sight. We're sticking with Scouts and we're doing all right. We got cool. We got cool.
You got Cub Scout cool.
Welcome back. I have with me now the golf coach from Port Huron Northern High School, Bill Murray. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you, Nancy. Nice to be here.
And we should first of all say that the match was rather disappointing for you.
This is always disappointing when we lose to the crosstown rival.
Right, and especially due to the fact that you lost by just 1 stroke. What do you attribute to that?
It's pretty hard to determine exactly where that 1 stroke comes in. I know all the guys, they go home and think, if I could have had that 1 putt that I missed, or if I could have had that 1 shot back, then maybe I could have turned things around for us. But I think right now we're vacillating in varsity with the bottom 3 places, and I have probably 6 guys that could possibly take one of those positions, and our depth isn't quite enough. We had the top 3 pretty well set, and our 4th, 5th, and 6th spots are not gelled yet, and somebody has to come forth here pretty soon and say, I want that spot, and start shooting a little bit better. So our depth is what I think really hurt us.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your team. How many members are on the team?
Okay, and in the team total there are 12 members. We have 6 that play varsity and 6 that play junior varsity. At this time, like I've mentioned to you, the 3 are definite varsity players. The remainder of the team has been going back and forth between junior varsity and varsity. We're approaching the middle of the season, and generally by the middle of the season I like to lock in on these are the varsity players and these are the junior varsity players, and I'm getting a little antsy and concerned about why I'm not able to do that yet. But I see some, after last night's match we had, I see some potential here to see that that'll happen pretty soon.
What are the grades involved here? Do you have freshmen on
Yes,
up?
we start with 9th graders and up through seniors, and there are 9th graders that have been played in some varsity matches, and there are seniors that are leading the way for us. Though I have 2 co-captains, Brad and John, who are really setting the pace, along with Keith Hinton this year, and Keith is a sophomore, but Brad and John are the seniors, and like I said, they're the co-captains, and they're really, really helping out and showing the rest of the team the way we want to go in the direction that we want to take. So I'm real pleased with that.
Let's talk a little bit about the league that we're in now. It's the MAC,
Right.
MAC League, or conference rather, compared to the Eastern Michigan League. How do you compare it?
The MAC League, or the Eastern Michigan League, since I've been coaching this last 5 years, has always been a fairly strong league. I've never felt that we were not a strong league, and we took some of the teams from there and went into the MAC League. The MAC League, in comparison to the EML, I would say is comparable. There's probably one or two teams that may have been a little tougher than they have been, but golf's kind of funny. You have good years and then you have some lean years, and I don't see a big difference in the MAC League and in the EML League as far as competition goes. And we're in the #1 division, and we can compete real well there.
Do you find it challenging to go to you're obviously playing on different golf courses than you were with the EML. Do you find that a challenge in and of itself?
It's very much of a challenge. We have two beautiful golf courses that Port Huron High and Port Huron Northern play on. And when we go out of town, we go to a different type of golf course. We go to a golf course that gets a tremendous amount of play, and the fairways and the greens aren't in quite the conditions that we're used to up here. And what's really nice that attracts the teams to come up here is they're always wanting to come up and play as much as they can because of the quality of the golf courses we have here.
I'd never thought of that, certainly with the amount of traffic they would get.
Yeah, and a golf course where the greens don't hold as well as ours do, you play a different type of game. You aren't able to stick the ball next to the pin like you can here. We're playing, some courses we're playing where we're hitting and rolling up to the pin, and it's a little different game than some of the guys are used to.
Do they compare in difficulty? Do they come close in the difficulty that you find here at the two golf courses here in town?
Two golf courses here in town, I would say, are probably more difficult than the ones that we play on out of town. Ones out of town are usually more wide open. People that play golf down there want to have some success at playing, and they look at the golf course in terms of difficulty, and they want the general population to be pleased with the type of play that they have, the scores they have, and so they're a little more wide open in the other courses where we play.
Do you think that's affected your total scores in other matches with other schools, not just with PH, but with other schools? Has it been to your advantage?
That's usually when we go down to playing these other courses, we usually have a little disadvantage, I think, in terms of trying to play our game and not being able to adjust to our style of play, so that we end up thinking we can put the ball close to the pin. When we hit the green, it doesn't stay on the green and it rolls off, and it takes a while to make that adjustment, and new players that are used to playing up here have a little trouble making that adjustment.
The Black River Country Club is not your home court. Your home court is Port Huron Golf Club.
Right.
Talk a little bit about the Port Huron Golf Club as far as what your players have to adjust to on that particular course.
Okay, at Port Huron Golf Club, we have lots of sand traps. We have a lot of holes on the front that have out of bounds on them. The fairways are more narrow than out of town. The greens are much more lush. They're able to hold the ball better. The fairways are definitely thicker. The ball's held up well, so that you get a good lie every time you hit. It's much more narrowed, though. The fairways are much narrower, and there's a tremendous number of oak trees. And if you know anything about golf and oak trees, you know that if you get behind them or get in them, you consider yourself pretty much in jail. And getting through an oak tree is very difficult. And so the player who can control the ball, hit the fairway, and get to the green and stay pretty much in the middle of the course is the one who's going to score well. Anybody who has a hard time with getting in the fairway is going to have a great difficulty at Port Huron. Port Huron is a little bit shorter than Black River, but Black River is in general the same type of course. It's a challenging course, it's a fair course. If you score well at Port Huron, if you score well at Black River, you've done well. And you should feel that you've played on as good a course as probably you're going to see around the area, and your score is very respectable if you do well.
Coach Sen and the players from PH mentioned that hole number 3 at Black River Country Club is a real toughie.
I know, you were out there taping that hole.
Was, yes.
I saw you out there, and that hole is an amazing hole. It's a #1 handicap hole at the course, and it's one of those holes where when you get to number 3, and if you've gotten by there with a bogey, you feel like you're on your way. It's the hole that you know is coming up, and it's a very difficult hole to par, very difficult. Most of the guys feel that if they bogey that hole, they're happy.
It's, as it was put to me, it's like shooting up a staircase.
Right, and once you get, if the back side of the green, it depends on the pin placement, but you've got to get on the green. If you get near the front, the ball won't stay and it'll roll right back off. So there are lots of, I was out there and I saw the guys that came through when I was watching, they were at least 3 strokes probably over par on that hole. And that's a hard one to get by. Like I say, if you can par it or you can get even a bogey, you feel like you've really accomplished something and you're on your way.
Right.
And you can probably have a good round after that point.
Nice to get it over with early on in the course, too.
Right.
What is your personal interest in golf? How did you get interested in it?
Oh, my father was involved, played golf when I was younger. I had a neighbor who belonged at Black River, and he and I used to play some. And then as I got older, my father was involved in a league, and they asked me if I would sub, and I had some success at golf, and I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as I do now. I think as you get older, you realize there's more to golf than hitting the ball. It's much more of a mental game, and you start to create things and be creative out on the golf course, and that's kind of enjoyable to me. There's never the same thing twice, and there's so much variety there, and it's so challenging, and it's probably the most difficult game I've ever been involved in. But I played golf most of my life, ever since I was old enough to get out there with my father. So that's been off and on throughout my life. And then I just happened to have the opportunity to coach golf in the last 5 years.
I found that a lot talking with the other players, that most of them started rather young. One started as young as 8, which I find rather amazing. I didn't know you could find clubs short enough for an 8-year-old. I suppose you can, if you're willing to pay the price, you can get them. But that it does, all of them had someone else in their family that played, and that's how they got started. Is that generally the case, do you find?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Usually there's a father or a mother or a grandpa or someone who sees the potential of, this is a game that's not just for when you're young and you're going to play in a team, but this is a game for all your life. And it's something that where lots of people are playing the game of golf today anyway. It's just really, it's getting to be, it is the #1 game, I guess, at this point. And I know that people are interested in getting their young people involved in the things that they see as real positive. And the game of golf teaches you lots of lessons about discipline and respect, and you just don't go out there and hit the ball as hard as you can hit it. There's a lot more to it. And it teaches you patience, and it can humble you some days. And it's a real life experience out there in the golf course. You live and die out there every day, so it teaches you lots of things about yourself, and you can learn a lot from it.
Do you have any specific training techniques that you offer to the are they all boys on the team? Do you have any girls?
Yes,
okay.
they're all boys. The team is open to girls if they were interested in coming out. I've had a couple inquiries, but I've never had a girl come out. They would have to compete at the same level the boys would. They wouldn't get the playoff of the ladies' tees. They would still play at the same tees and everything. But no one has ever come out. But as far as training techniques go, our season is really compressed into about 4 or 5 weeks. And we have 4 matches a week. And what happens is that practices are very limited. And a lot of things that are done as far as training have to be done before the season, so that when the players get here, they're more or less ready to go. And I meet with them in the springtime and talk to them about it. We also have a qualifying session before the season even starts, because this year I had 28 players come out that wanted to be on the team. And I had lots of numbers, and we had to get down to 12, which I carry. And so at the time there's some offerings of what can we do to help, you need to work on your game. But a lot of the players know what kinds of things they need to do. A lot of them, if they're having problems, they work them out themselves, or they have been working with someone, and they go and get help there. But some of them need to spend time chipping and working on that sort of thing, and we do that whenever we can. But we don't have lots of time to spend on the training.
It's not like a football team where you have a few weeks of practice before you start.
No, we don't. We have more or less, we pick the team and then we go. It's more of a, my job is more of a logistical, putting things together and people in the right place, and also encouraging the players to do well and trying to get them to think in a positive manner.
Okay. Are there any scholarships available for outstanding golf athletes?
There are scholarships available for golfers. A golfer would have to do very well in the league to get recognized. There are a number of good golfers in the state. A lot of the golfing areas are the warmer weather areas, so that colleges that are down south recruit basically from the areas where those players have been in a warm area where they're playing golf year-round. However, community college offers some scholarships to golfers. I have had golfers that have played for me that do have some scholarship money playing community college here. As far as big colleges go, they tend to recruit out of state. But if there are players that are doing real well, they get recognized at the state level. And when we have regionals, I always tell my players, if you want some recognition at the regional, that's where you really need to do well. You can score well in your league and you'll get the interest, and people will recognize the name and see the score. But at the regional, you score real well at the regional, people will come and look, and you need to do real well there.
Everyone goes to the regional, right?
In the varsity and the regional, the top 5 will go.
Oh, all right.
And what happens there is we play the top 5 and one score is thrown out and we count 4 scores.
Okay. And then you'd go on to state from there if you rank high enough in the regionals.
And we went to the States 4 years ago, and we didn't finish as well as I hoped to, but we got there. And this year, every year before the season starts, when a team is picked, I have a team meeting and we talk about goals. And that is one of this team's goal is to get to the States this year. And I hope that we can do it. And we have a good chance of doing it. The thing with the going to the States is that it's a one-day event, and golf isn't always fair to you on a one-day event. And if you have a good day and everybody's having a good day, you end up going. If you are struggling, then you may not get to go. And sometimes you never know. But also golfers on the teams can qualify individually to go to the state. So it doesn't just have to be your team.
Oh, all right.
If you're one of the top medalists in your regional, then you also can go if your team's not going. So when Derek Button, a couple years ago, went to the States and became the state medalist, he went on his own. Porter High School's team didn't go. So he qualified individually and did real well and won the state.
That's terrific. It's always great to see local teams represented.
It is. I was
in the
really
state.
excited for him.
Well, thank you, Coach Bill Murray, for joining us. We're going to talk
appreciate
with
it.
a couple of your players here in just a minute, and we'll be back right after this.
From the McGruff Files, the Philadelphia story. In certain parts of Philadelphia, things were rough. Areas were run down, crime and drugs were out of hand, and honest folks felt like prisoners in their own homes. People decided to work with police to turn things around. Weekly meetings led to cleanup projects and folks working together. Soon, the neighbors had their neighborhood back. That's what happens when people and police work together. Write this down, and I'll show you how you can help take a bite out of crime.
Welcome back to the final segment of our interviews on today's golf show. I have with me now 2 members of the Port Huron Northern golf team, and they both happen to be members of the varsity team. With me, right next to me, is John Adair, and then we have Brad Ellis. Hi, guys. Nice to have you here. You suffered a very disappointing loss the other day to Northern, didn't you? Oh, to PH, rather.
Yeah. It's always like that. Whenever we play PH, it's always 1 or 2 strokes. We play at their course, we lose by a stroke or 2, and they play at our course.
We win by a stroke or 2.
Nip and tuck, huh?
Yeah.
Do you feel you're pretty closely matched teams?
On paper, I don't think so. I think we're stronger, but you can throw all that out when we play each other. It just doesn't even matter.
Can you compare the different golf courses that you work out at Port Huron Golf Club and then Black River? How do you feel about Black River Country Club?
I love it.
I like Black River much better.
Yeah.
Do you?
It's a lot easier.
They're a lot similar, and they're both great courses, best in the area. But
We've always been playing Black River since about 10 years old.
Yeah.
So this is just like it's our home course, not Port Huron.
How did you get started, John, in golf?
I was about 8 or 9 years old, and my dad just said that we were going to get a membership to Black River, so I said, great, I'll start playing golf. And Brad was already a member there, so we just started playing together. And
ever since then.
So you were about 8 or 10 as well?
No, I was about 4.
4?
Yeah.
I didn't know they made golf clubs that small.
Yeah, my dad had some made for me, and ever since then.
How did you do as a 4-year-old? Like a 4-year-old?
Yeah, like a 4-year-old. Like a 4-year-old.
Well, wasn't it different? I mean, did you start at the greens? Where did you?
I really didn't play a lot. I just practiced on the range
all
or
right. Okay.
on the putting green, but it was still a lot of fun.
I was going to say that's a long shot for a 4-year-old to have to make on any of those holes. How do you feel about hole number 3 on the Black River course?
well, it's a tough hole.
You had fun with that. I watched you.
It's a tough hole, but we both did well on it
Yeah.
on Tuesday.
Yeah,
What
we
was your
both-
score on that? Do you remember?
We both made par.
Yeah.
Did you make par?
Yeah.
Terrific.
So it can be a very, very tough hole.
Your drive is the shot on the hole.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good drive, it's a tough hole because you're in the trees on the left, you're in the trees on the right. So if you have a good drive, it makes it a lot easier. The green's tough, but it's
You can
not as
overcome
difficult as
that.
you have a nice drive.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the trick, is a
Yeah.
good drive. Okay. We talked about your experience. So you've played since you were 4 and you were 8. Did your parents have an interest in golf? I mean, you mentioned that your dad said, let's go play golf. Did he already play, or was this just something he decided to do?
My dad played, but he didn't play a lot. He just decided to get a membership, and we started playing.
How about yours, Brad?
My sister, my mother, my father, they were playing before, and they just got me started. It was just kind of like a family thing.
I think that's probably generally true. Do you find that with most of the members of the team?
Yeah.
They have some family connection or something
Yeah.
to get them
Most of the
started.
time, yeah.
Most people just don't walk into a golf course and say, I want to play, right?
Not as a 10-year-old.
As a rule, yeah. What are your averages? Brad, what's yours?
Of lately, last night 38, night before 38, the other day 34, but I think it's 39, 40. I'm not sure.
How do you compare to, well, what grade are you in? I should ask you that.
I'm a senior.
You're a senior.
Yes.
You played last year, I'm assuming. How does it compare to your scores last year?
More consistent.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I did some things over the summer that have helped me, like my concentration and my attitude towards the game, and
Consistency has to be a big part of the game.
it is. It is.
And how about you, John?
My average right now is at 41. It's a little higher than I'd like it to be, but I'm much more consistent than I was last year.
Are you a senior as well?
Yes.
Okay. Do you both plan to pursue golf on college teams?
No, not me.
Not you. Why not?
I'm not good enough.
Oh, really?
It's that simple, but up until this year, I'd always thought, well, if I practice hard and I do a lot of extra work, I'll play college, but I just haven't done it, so I really doubt that I will do it. But
How about you, Brad?
I was thinking about it. There's a couple of colleges that I'd like to play for, but I'm not sure quite what I'm going to be doing yet, so I don't know.
Do you have any specific training techniques that you use? Now, the coach said that you don't have a lot of time to practice once the season starts, and once you're into the season, you're playing almost every day. I'm assuming you practice on your own. Go off and play on off days. Do you have any techniques, not to give away trade secrets, I'm not asking for that, but do you have anything that you do yourself to improve your game?
a lot of it's hitting range balls. Hit a lot of range balls to develop a swing, a smooth, consistent swing that you can't do much wrong with. And then there's a lot of chipping and putting. A lot of the game is the short game, so you work on that too.
I just usually practice throughout the summer, then on weekends when schools get started, but it's just same thing, hitting range balls.
Have either of you ever worked with pros?
Yeah.
Had the
Yes.
opportunity?
Yes, both
Did you find that useful?
We've had a lot of help since we have been younger. When we were 13 years old, we used to play with 20-year-olds who were good, and they teach us a lot of stuff. And we worked with Doug Zimmerman, the pro at Black River, and other people that is just, they're good enough to be pros but haven't helped us.
Yeah. Same here. It's I've got a lot of information from Todd Dewan and Mr. Dewan, who also are members of Black River, and it's helped me quite a bit.
Is there a controversy? I've heard, you watch TV, you see the ads, so get my golf video and learn how to perfect your swing. Do you ever find that there's a controversy in swing technique? And if so, how much of it do you like go in one ear and out the other?
I think that it's I don't watch tapes. I don't like them. It all depends on the individual. The individual's body, his build. It's the whole swing right there. Because if he's tall, he's going to have a big round swing. If he's short, he's going to have a tighter swing. So it all depends on the individual. And there's not much. Videotapes probably help you a little bit, but they're not going to help you do a lot. It's a lot of one-on-one stuff.
I say videotaping your own swing and learning from that, because then you can get down to the basics and you can see what you're doing wrong, and then from there improve. That's what I usually do.
What do you do? Have someone come with you and videotape you?
A lot of the time, Brad and I, we've been playing since we were 10, so we just help each other out with our swings. We play 1 and 2 on the team. We help each other out in shot selection, but we help each other on the swing. And if we're doing something wrong, we'll let each other know. And we know each other's swing better than we know our own, so it just helps a lot.
Sure, you get to see the other guys swing more.
Yeah.
What do you think your chances are of going on to state this year?
I feel that they're really good. As soon as we get a fourth player that can be pretty strong and consistent, then I don't think it'd be a problem.
I think we're surprisingly pretty good. Coming into this year, I thought we'd only have 3 people, Keith Hinton, Brad, and myself. But we've had some younger freshmen and sophomores come in, and they've been doing pretty well. Our JV has an average of 48 around there, and that's really low. Last year we had an average of 60, but now we're starting to get like Danny Bankson and Bill Orr and Kevin Crittenden are coming in, and Chris Beck too. And Kurt Vollmer.
Yeah.
They're all coming in, and they're fighting for the 3, 4, and 5. Or 4, 5, and 6 spots, and that's really competitive, and it really helps the team, and I think we have a good chance.
So as soon as you get that 4th player, you ought to be on your way.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. What are your plans for the future? Or do you ever think about becoming a golf pro?
I'd like to. I'd like to, but I still haven't decided what I'd like to do yet.
I have no plans, really.
You don't want to play in college.
I used to, but I doubt that I will.
But do you think it will be a sport that you'll continue to play through the rest of your life?
Definitely.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Once you're hooked, you're hooked. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
No pun intended. Okay. Well, John Adair and Brad Ellis, thank you very much for joining me today. And thank you for joining us here with this edition of Golf featuring the Port Huron Northern and Port Huron High School teams.